Okay, so we're tackling something that I think everyone struggles with,
Yeah.
fitting exercise into a busy life.
Right?
We've got so many sources for this.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of fitness blogs and workout tips articles, even a whole website from a women's fitness club.
Wow.
Really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Our mission this time is to help everyone listening figure out
Okay.
how to make exercise happen no matter how busy they are.
I like it.
And spoiler alert, there's some really interesting advice in these sources.
Oh, cool.
I was really surprised by some of it.
Really? Like what?
Well, we'll get to that, but first, I think we need to talk about why exercise is so important.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we all know it's good for us,
Right.
but sometimes that knowledge just isn't enough to get me off the couch
Well,
when I'm feeling exhausted.
you and me both.
So why is it so important to be consistent with exercise,
Yeah.
even when we don't feel like it?
Inner body research has some data on this, and it really highlights the problem.
Lay it on me.
Globally, we're facing a massive obesity epidemic.
Oh, I knew it was bad, but how bad are we talking?
They say it's something like 1.9 billion adults
Wow.
and almost 40 million kids under the age of 5
Oh my God.
who are at a higher risk for health problems.
And what kind of health problems?
Oh, a lot of them.
Yeah.
We're talking about things like cardiovascular disease, diabetes, some cancers,
Oh, wow.
hypertension, even osteoporosis and depression.
That's a lot more than I would have guessed.
It is.
So we're not just talking about getting in shape for summer.
Right.
It's about preventing some serious health issues down the road.
Exactly.
It's almost like preventative care.
I think that's a great way to look at it.
So exercise isn't optional, it's essential.
Yeah.
Huh.
And what's really interesting is
Yeah.
all of these sources seem to agree
On what?
that exercise is kind of like a life hack.
A life hack.
Yeah. You know, it's not just about avoiding those health risks.
Mhm.
It's about enhancing your whole life, like a system upgrade.
Okay, I'm listening.
So you're stronger physically, of course,
Sure.
but your mood is better, you handle stress better,
Oh, interesting.
you can even think more clearly.
So it's not just about looking good in a swimsuit.
Right.
It's about feeling good
Yeah.
and performing better
Exactly.
in every area of your life.
I like that.
Okay, so we've established that exercise is super important.
Absolutely.
But how do we actually make it happen
Yeah.
when we're all so busy?
Right, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. But luckily,
You're okay.
these sources have some answers.
Oh, good.
One of the biggest themes I noticed was this idea of efficiency.
Okay.
We need workouts that give us the most bang for our buck.
Yeah, especially when we're short on time.
Exactly. We're not training for the Olympics. We
Right.
just want to be healthy and feel good.
So true.
So what are some examples of efficient workouts?
Well, there are a lot of options.
Right.
Things like bodyweight exercises, Tabata training, even running.
See, running's not my thing.
That's okay, not for everyone.
But the other stuff, those sound doable,
Yeah.
and they can be done anywhere.
That's the point.
You don't need a gym or fancy equipment.
Exactly.
So I can squeeze in a workout during my lunch break
You got it.
or while I'm waiting for the kids to finish soccer practice.
Perfect.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also really important to find activities
That
that you
means-
actually enjoy.
I couldn't agree more.
I used to force myself to run on the treadmill
Oh, no.
because I thought of the best workout. But I hated every minute of it.
Of course.
I dreaded it.
Yeah.
And eventually I just gave up.
Yeah, it happens.
It wasn't until I discovered dance classes
Oh, nice.
that I actually started to look forward to exercising.
That's awesome.
It was so fun.
See-
And I didn't even realize I was working out
Exactly.
because I was having such a good time.
I think that's a perfect example of how much more important it is to enjoy what you're doing
Yeah.
than to just pick the quote-unquote best workout.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you think are some good ways to figure out what kind of exercise you actually like?
Well, a lot of the sources recommend thinking back to what you enjoyed as a kid.
Oh, interesting.
You know, did you love to swim or bike
Yeah.
or play tag?
Mm.
Maybe there's a way to bring that back into your life.
I like that.
Or think about what interests you now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you always wanted to try rock climbing?
Okay.
Or maybe a Zumba class?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to experiment
Right.
and find something that sparks your interest.
And I guess it's not about being good at it.
Not at all.
It's about
Steve.
trying new things and
Right.
seeing what feels good.
It's all about that feeling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about efficiency and enjoyment,
Mm-hmm.
but let's be real.
Okay.
Some days,
Yeah.
even the thought of putting on workout clothes
Tell me about it.
feels exhausting.
Right. So how do we overcome that?
Well, One thing that a lot of these sources emphasize
Okay.
is the power of routine.
Ah, yes.
Dustin Mar Fitness talks a lot
No,
about
I've
this.
heard of them.
They recommend scheduling your workouts,
Mm-hmm.
just like you would schedule any other important appointment.
That's smart.
Yeah, if it's on your calendar,
Yeah.
you're much less likely to skip it.
So true.
I mean, I wouldn't cancel a meeting with my boss
Right.
just because I didn't feel like it.
Of course not.
So why do we treat our workouts with any less respect?
That's a good point.
We need to start prioritizing our health
Absolutely.
and making it a non-negotiable part of our day.
Could not agree more.
And here's something I found really interesting.
Okay, what is it?
Some sources actually suggest tailoring your workout time
To what?
to your chronotype.
Ooh, I like that.
I'd never even heard of that term before.
It's cool, right?
What is it?
Well, it basically refers to
Yeah.
whether you're a morning person or a night owl.
Okay.
It's your natural sleep-wake cycle.
Oh, interesting.
So if you're a morning person,
Mm-hmm.
early workouts might feel amazing.
Right.
But if you're a night owl,
Yeah.
forcing yourself to exercise first thing in the morning
Mhm.
might be setting yourself up for failure.
That's a good point.
It's all about working with your natural rhythm.
Okay. I'm definitely a night owl.
Me too.
I've always struggled with morning workouts.
Same here.
Maybe that's why.
Could be.
Maybe I'd have more success
Yeah.
if I shifted my workouts to the evening.
I think it's worth experimenting with.
Yeah.
See what feels best for you.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
we've got routine down. But what about those sneaky time wasters
Oh, you.
that creep into our day?
Yeah, like social media.
Exactly. It feels like sometimes I blink and an hour has vanished.
I know, right? It's crazy.
So how do we combat that?
Well, one of the sources had a really interesting suggestion.
What's that?
It's called time tracking.
Time tracking. You mean like writing down everything I do?
Yeah, kind of like a time log.
Isn't that a little intense?
I know it sounds that way.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be.
Oh, okay.
The goal isn't to become obsessed with every minute.
Mm-hmm.
It's more about becoming aware of
Ugh.
where your time is actually going.
Okay. I guess I could see how that would be helpful.
Yeah.
I bet I spend way more time scrolling through social media than I
It's
realize.
to the best of us.
So if we track our time for a few days,
Yeah.
we can identify those time sucks
Exactly.
and then try to reclaim them.
Right. And repurpose that time
Okay.
for things that support your health and well-being.
So instead of scrolling for 30 minutes,
Yeah.
I could go for a brisk walk
Exactly.
or do a quick workout at home.
I love it.
It's not about adding more hours to the day.
Right.
It's about using the hours we already have
I agree.
more intentionally.
Could have said it better myself.
Perfect.
Now, this next tip might sound a little crazy,
Okay, I'm intrigued.
but one of the sources suggested,
Turning your commute into a workout.
oh, I've always admired those people who bike to work.
Right.
But I always thought that was only for, like,
The fruit?
super fit athletes.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be that extreme.
Oh, good.
It's about starting small
Okay.
and gradually increasing the intensity and frequency.
So, like, maybe I park further away from work
That's a great idea.
and walk the rest of the way.
Perfect.
Okay, I could do that. It's about finding those little pockets of opportunity
Exactly.
to sneak in some extra movement.
You're getting it.
I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about reclaiming wasted time
Mhm.
and sneaking in movement during our commute.
Right.
But what about those days when we're really pressed for time?
Yeah, those are common.
Is there a way to get a good workout in?
There is.
Even if we only have like 30 minutes.
Definitely. Actually, one of the sources,
Right.
Fernwood Fitness website,
Mhm.
has this really cool program.
What is it?
It's called FIE 30.
FIIT 30. Yep. And it's specifically designed for women.
Interesting.
And it features these quick, intense 30-minute workouts.
Okay, so what do those workouts involve?
They incorporate something called high-intensity interval training.
HIIT. I've heard of that.
Yep, that's the one.
I always thought that meant going as hard as you can for 30 minutes straight.
Not quite. It's a bit more strategic than that.
Oh, okay.
It's all about alternating between
Between,
short bursts of intense effort
Yep.
and periods of recovery.
so it's more like
What?
a pattern
Yes.
of exertion and rest.
You got it.
I like that.
And it's super effective for boosting your metabolism.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's great for your cardiovascular health.
So I'm getting a great workout
Yeah.
in just 30 minutes.
Exactly.
Plus, I'm getting all these other benefits.
Mhm.
I like it.
Yeah.
But is it just a solo thing?
What do you mean?
Like, am I doing it by myself at home?
Oh, well, you could.
Okay.
But what's really cool about FIIT 30 is
Yeah.
it combines these intense workouts with a small group training environment.
Oh,
So you've got that community aspect.
right. Like a built-in support system?
Exactly. And it helps with accountability, too.
Oh, that's a good point. And what if you want
Yeah.
even more personalized support?
Well, Fernwood Fitness also offers
Yeah.
individual training sessions.
Okay, like a personal trainer.
Exactly.
Someone to help you set goals
Yeah.
and create a workout plan
Yeah.
and keep you motivated.
That's the idea.
Sounds like having a coach in your corner.
That's a great way to put it.
I like it. Okay,
Yeah.
so we've covered different types of workouts and ways to make time for exercise.
Right.
But what about the mental side of things?
Mindset.
Exactly. Snacking in Sneakers has a whole section on this.
I love that blog.
Me too.
Hello.
And they make a really good point
What's that?
about the importance of connecting with your why.
Your why.
Yeah, like
okay.
why do you want to exercise more?
Yeah, good question.
What are your deeper motivations?
That makes sense.
Is it about improving your physical health,
Okay.
boosting your energy levels, or maybe just feeling more confident?
Right. It's about getting clear on your purpose.
Exactly. And once you've identified your why,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a source of inspiration,
It does.
especially on those days
Yeah.
when you'd rather stay curled up on the couch.
I know those days well.
It's like your personal mantra,
Love it.
reminding you why you're doing this.
And that can be really powerful.
I think so too. Now, here's another reframing I really liked.
Hit me with it.
From Snacking in Sneakers.
Okay.
They suggest seeing exercise
Yeah.
as a privilege,
Interesting.
not a chore.
I like that.
It's about appreciating the fact
Yeah.
that we have bodies
Yeah.
that are capable of movement.
Right.
Instead of focusing on the effort,
Yeah.
we can focus on the opportunity.
That's a great shift in perspective.
It's about gratitude
Yeah.
instead of resentment.
Love it.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we've talked about motivation and mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but what about those days when motivation is just gone?
Yeah, we all have those days.
Any tips for getting ourselves moving when we'd rather do anything but exercise?
Well, one strategy that came up a lot
Yeah.
is to start small.
Okay.
You don't have to do a full-blown workout every time.
So like, I don't need a whole hour
Nope,
to make it count.
not at all.
Oh, good.
Even 5 or 10 minutes of movement is better than nothing.
That's reassuring.
Right.
Sometimes I get so overwhelmed
I get it.
by the idea of needing a full hour
Totally.
that I end up doing nothing at all.
I think a lot of people fall into that trap.
It's that all or nothing
It
mentality.
is.
So we need to shift our focus
To what?
to consistency over intensity.
Yes.
It's the small,
Yeah.
consistent efforts
That's right.
that add up over time.
Could not agree more.
Okay, that makes me feel a lot better.
Good.
So what are some examples of these mini workouts?
Well, you could do a quick round of body weight exercises.
Okay.
Go for a brisk walk around the block.
Yeah.
Or even just put on some music and dance around your living room.
I like those. But how can we make these mini workouts more appealing?
I see what you're saying.
I mean, sometimes even 5 minutes feels like a drag.
Well, Dustin Mar Fitness suggests
Yeah.
creating a supportive environment.
Okay, like what?
Maybe you put on your favorite playlist
Oh, good idea.
or listen to an inspiring podcast
I like that.
or even light some aromatherapy candles
Oh, that's nice.
to create a relaxing atmosphere.
So it's about setting the stage
Exactly.
for a positive experience,
Right.
even if it's just for a few minutes.
I love it.
And speaking of setting the stage, let's talk about music.
Oh, yes, music.
Several sources mention
They did.
how music can really elevate your workout
I agree.
and make it more enjoyable.
It's amazing how powerful music can be.
It really is.
It can totally transform my mood
Maybe,
and energy levels.
Yeah, the right playlist
It
kind
can-
of makes all the difference.
Seriously.
Is there any research on this?
Actually, there's a whole field of research dedicated to the psychology of music
Really?
and its impact on exercise performance.
I had no idea.
It's fascinating stuff.
So what kind of music is best for working out?
Well, the research suggests that upbeat music with a strong rhythm can be really effective for boosting motivation and endurance.
Okay, that makes sense.
But ultimately, the
Yeah.
best music for working out is
Yeah.
the music that you enjoy the most.
I agree.
It's all about personal preference.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of music.
Yep.
But what about tracking our progress?
Ah, good one.
Several sources talked about this.
They did.
But to be honest,
yeah.
I've always found it a bit tedious.
I hear you.
Like, Why bother?
Well, I think the sources make a really good case for
why it can be beneficial.
Okay, I'm listening. For starters, it provides a sense of accomplishment.
Oh, okay.
When you see how far you've come, it can be really motivating.
That's a good point.
Right. It's easy to lose sight of how much you're improving when you're not tracking it.
I could see that.
And another benefit is it can help you identify patterns.
Oh, like what?
Like if you notice that you consistently struggle to work out on certain days of the week, you can try to reschedule or find ways to make those days more manageable.
So it's about being strategic.
Exactly.
And adapting your approach based on real data.
I like it.
That makes a lot of sense. And luckily, there's so many ways to track your progress these days.
Oh, yeah. So many options.
You can use a notebook, a fitness app, a wearable device, or even just a calendar.
It's all about finding what works best for you.
Okay, so we've got a ton of great tips.
Me too.
But I think it's also important to talk about the importance of setting realistic goals.
Absolutely.
Both Dustin Marr Fitness and inner body research stress this point.
Yes, it's so crucial.
It's so easy to get overambitious.
I know, right?
And then feel defeated when you don't see results immediately.
It's all about that instant gratification.
Exactly. We live in a world of instant everything.
It's true.
But fitness doesn't work that way.
It takes time.
Yeah, we need to be patient.
For sure.
And focus on those small, consistent efforts.
And celebrate those small wins along the way.
I like that. So instead of trying to do everything at once, we should start small and gradually increase the intensity and duration of the workouts.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love that analogy.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about time management.
We have.
Finding activities we enjoy.
Right.
Setting realistic goals.
Yeah.
And cultivating a positive mindset. Now, I think it's time to dive into some specific strategies.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
For fitting exercise into those little pockets of time.
I'm excited to hear this.
That we all have in our busy lives.
Let's do it. Welcome back to our deep dive.
We were talking about setting realistic goals.
Right. But sometimes, even with the best intentions, motivation just disappears.
Ugh, it's the worst.
Yeah.
Any tips for those days?
Yeah, actually, one strategy that popped up a lot is to just start small.
Small.
Yeah, you don't have to do a full workout every single time.
Okay.
Even 5 or 10 minutes is better than nothing.
Really? I always feel like it has to be at least an hour.
I know. It's easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
But it's those small, consistent efforts that make the biggest difference in the long run.
That makes me feel better.
Good.
So what are some examples of these mini workouts?
Well, you could try a quick round of bodyweight exercises. Or a brisk walk around the block. You could even put on some music and just dance around your living room.
That sounds fun.
Right.
But what if even those mini workouts feel like a chore?
Good question. Dustin Marr Fitness has a suggestion for that.
Lay it on me.
They say creating a supportive environment can help.
Supportive environment.
Yeah, like putting on your favorite playlist.
Ooh, I love that.
Or listening to an inspiring podcast.
Okay.
Or even lighting some aromatherapy candle.
Ooh, spa vibes.
It's all about setting the stage for a positive experience.
I like it. And it's not just the environment, right?
Right.
Music can be a huge motivator.
Oh, absolutely.
Multiple sources talked about that.
It's amazing how powerful music can be.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, the right playlist can totally transform my mood.
Me too. And it can actually boost your performance too.
Really?
Yeah, there's actually a whole field of research on the psychology of music and exercise.
That's so cool. So what kind of music is best?
Well, research shows that upbeat music, something with a strong rhythm,
can be really good for motivation and endurance.
Okay, that makes sense.
But honestly, the best music is whatever you enjoy the most.
I agree. It's all about personal preference.
Exactly.
Okay, so music is important.
Yep.
But what about tracking our progress?
Ooh, that's a good one.
To be honest, I've never been great at that.
I get it. It can feel tedious.
It does. So why bother?
Well, the sources actually make a really compelling argument for it.
Okay, I'm all ears.
First of all, it gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Oh, okay.
You know, when you can actually see how far you've come.
I guess that would be motivating.
Right.
It's easy to forget how much you're improving when you don't track it.
And another benefit is it can help you see patterns.
Patterns.
Yeah, like Maybe you notice you always struggle to work out on Mondays.
Oh, interesting.
Then you can try to reschedule or figure out what's going on.
So it's about being strategic.
Exactly.
And adapting your approach.
You got it.
Based on real data.
Precisely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And these days, there's so many ways to track your progress.
Oh, yeah. So many options.
You can use a notebook, a fitness app, a wearable device.
Yep.
Even just a calendar.
It's all about finding what works for you.
I like it. Now, I know we talked about setting realistic goals before.
We did.
But I think it's worth emphasizing again.
Oh, absolutely. This is so important.
It's so easy to get carried away.
I know, right?
And set these huge goals.
Yeah.
And then feel discouraged when you don't reach them immediately.
I've been there.
We all have. So how do we set realistic goals?
Well, both Dustin Marr Fitness and Inner Body Research really stress the importance of starting small.
Okay, start small.
And gradually increase the intensity and duration of your workouts.
So it's not about making drastic changes overnight.
Nope. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Love that.
It's about celebrating those small victories along the way.
Okay, I can do that.
Good.
So we've talked about time management, finding activities we enjoy, setting realistic goals, and cultivating a positive mindset.
We have covered a lot of ground.
We have. But what about those days when even with all of that, motivation is just gone?
I feel ya. We all have those days.
Any tips for getting ourselves moving when we'd really rather not?
Well, one thing that came up a lot was this idea of just starting small.
Start small.
And yeah, I know we've mentioned it.
Okay.
But it's really important. You don't have to do a full workout every time.
Oh, okay.
Even 5 or 10 minutes is better than nothing.
That's reassuring.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like if I don't have a full hour,
I know.
It's not even worth it.
It's that all or nothing thinking.
It is.
And it can be a real motivation killer.
So what are some examples of these mini workouts?
You can do some body weight exercises, go for a walk.
Okay.
Even just put on some music and dance around your living room.
Those all sound doable. But how can we make them more appealing? Sometimes even 5 minutes feels like a drag.
That's where Dustin Marr Fitness comes in again.
Okay. What do they say?
They recommend creating a supportive environment.
What does that mean?
Like put on your favorite music.
Ooh, good idea.
Listen to a podcast.
Okay.
Maybe light some candles.
Ooh, spa time.
It's about making it an experience.
Yeah.
Something you actually look forward to.
That makes sense.
And speaking of things you might look forward to.
Okay.
Let's talk about music.
Yes, music.
Multiple sources highlighted how music can elevate your workout.
I completely agree.
And make it so much more enjoyable.
The right playlist can totally change my mood.
Me too. And your energy levels.
It's crazy how powerful music can be.
It is. There's a whole field of research on it, actually.
Really?
The psychology of music and how it affects exercise performance.
I had no idea. So what kind of music works best?
Well, the research says upbeat music, something with a strong rhythm, can be really helpful for motivation and endurance.
That makes sense.
But at the end of the day, the best music is whatever you enjoy listening to.
I agree. It's all about personal preference.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about something that I'm not always great at.
Okay, what's that?
Tracking my progress.
Oh, yeah. Several sources emphasize that.
It's so important.
But I have to admit, I've always found it a bit tedious.
I understand. It can feel like a chore.
So why bother?
Well, the sources actually make a really good case for it.
Okay, I'm listening.
First of all, it gives you a sense of accomplishment.
Okay.
When you can actually see how far you've come, it can be incredibly motivating.
That's a good point. I guess it's easy to forget how much you're improving when you don't track it.
And tracking your progress can also help you identify patterns.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Like maybe you notice you consistently struggle to work out on certain days.
Okay.
Then you can try to adjust your schedule.
So it's about being strategic and using data to inform your approach.
You got it.
I like it. And luckily these days, there are so many different ways to track your progress.
Oh, yeah. Tons of options.
You can use a notebook, a fitness app, a wearable device, even just a calendar.
It's all about finding what works best for you.
Okay, so tracking is important.
Absolutely.
And we've already talked about setting realistic goals.
Right.
But I think it's worth emphasizing again.
It's so crucial.
Because it's so easy to get over-ambitious.
It is.
And set these huge goals that we're never going to achieve.
And then you feel defeated.
Exactly. It's a recipe for disaster.
It is. So Dustin Marr Fitness and Inner Body Research
both
emphasize starting small,
Okay, start small.
And gradually increasing the intensity and duration of your workouts.
So it's not about making these massive changes overnight?
Nope. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
I love that analogy.
Me too. It's about those small, consistent efforts that add up over time.
And celebrating those wins along the way.
Exactly.
I can do that. Now let's switch gears a bit
Okay.
and talk about something that I think a lot of people struggle with.
What's that?
Body image.
Ah, yeah.
It's so easy to get caught up in comparing ourselves to others
It is.
and feeling like we don't measure up.
Especially with social media these days.
It's a constant barrage of perfect bodies.
Right.
So how do we cultivate a more positive body image?
Well, Snacking in Sneakers has some great advice on this.
Okay, I'm all ears.
They suggest starting by shifting our focus away from appearance
Okay.
and towards functionality.
Functionality.
Yeah, like what can our bodies do?
Oh, interesting.
Instead of obsessing over how we look in a swimsuit, we can focus on how strong we feel,
Okay.
how far we can run,
Yeah.
how much weight we can lift.
I like that.
It's about celebrating what our bodies can do.
Exactly. It's about appreciating our bodies
Yes.
for their abilities
Yeah.
rather than just their appearance.
I love that.
Now, I know we've been focusing a lot on physical activity,
We have.
but I think it's important to remember that exercise is just one piece of the puzzle.
It is.
There are so many other factors that contribute to our overall health and well-being,
Absolutely.
like nutrition
Oh, yeah. Nutrition is huge.
and sleep
So important.
and stress management.
Right.
It's about creating a holistic lifestyle.
I love that.
So where do we even begin?
Well, Inner Body Research has a great section on this.
Okay, what do they say?
They suggest taking a step back and looking at your life as a whole.
Oh, the big picture.
Exactly.
What are you eating?
Okay.
How much are you sleeping? How are you managing stress?
Right.
It's about identifying those areas where you could make some positive changes.
And it doesn't have to be all at once.
Oh, good.
Even small changes can make a big difference over time.
So, like, maybe I start by adding more fruits and vegetables to my diet.
That's a great start.
Or maybe I try to get to bed 30 minutes earlier each night.
Perfect.
Or I start incorporating some mindfulness practices into my day.
I love it.
It's about finding those small, sustainable changes that you can
Yes.
stick with.
That's the key.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different strategies
Yeah.
for fitting exercise into a busy life.
And creating a healthy lifestyle overall.
But before we wrap up this part,
Yeah.
I want to circle back to something we touched on earlier.
What's that?
Self-compassion.
Ah, yeah. Self-compassion. So important.
Snacking in Sneakers has a great section on this.
I love that blog.
Me too.
Yeah.
And they make a really important point.
What's that? We're all human,
Right.
and we're all going to have days when we fall short of our goals.
Oh, absolutely.
The key is to not beat ourselves up about it.
Yeah, that's easier said than done.
I know, it is. But we need to be kind to ourselves,
Okay, be kind to ourselves.
just like we would be kind to a friend who is struggling.
That's a good way to think about it.
Right.
So instead of focusing on our failures,
Yeah.
we can acknowledge our efforts and celebrate our progress.
And remember that every day is a new opportunity.
I love that. So it's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about progress.
Exactly. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive.
I feel like we've covered so much ground.
Yeah, we really have explored a ton of strategies.
That's a lot to take in.
It is, but you know what's great?
Right.
It all boils down to a few key principles.
Okay, so for this last part, let's distill everything down to the essentials.
Love it.
What are the absolute must-knows?
All right, so number one,
Okay,
exercise doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming thing.
right, we've busted that myth.
Totally. Even small bursts of activity can make a difference.
Like those mini workouts we talked
yeah,
about.
exactly.
Walking meetings,
Yeah.
taking the stairs.
All of it counts.
It all adds up,
It does, and that brings us to our second point.
which is?
Consistency over intensity.
Yes.
It's better to do a little bit every day than to try and cram a whole week's worth of exercise
yeah.
into one crazy session.
I am so guilty of that.
I think a lot of people are.
I go all in for like a week or two,
Yeah.
and then life gets in the way,
Yeah.
and I totally fall off track.
But if we can focus on building those sustainable habits,
Okay.
even small ones,
Yeah.
we're much more likely to succeed in the long run.
So it's about those daily choices
Yeah.
that add up to a healthier lifestyle.
Exactly, like taking a 10-minute walk at lunch or doing some stretches while you watch TV.
Right. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Not at all. And speaking of keeping things simple,
Yeah.
Let's talk about scheduling again.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
Scheduling your workouts like appointments.
It makes them non-negotiable.
Exactly. And remember, work with your natural rhythm.
Right. If you're a night owl,
yeah,
don't force yourself to work out at 6 a.m. No way.
Find a time that works for you and stick to it.
I like it. And I think it's also important to remember that we don't have to do this alone.
Oh, absolutely. Support is key.
We need our cheerleaders.
Yeah.
Our accountability buddies, our coaches.
Whether it's a friend, a family member,
yeah,
an online community, or even a personal trainer.
Having that support system can make all the difference.
It really can. And speaking of support, let's revisit goal setting.
Oh, yeah, those SMART goals.
Exactly. Specific, measurable,
achievable,
relevant, and time-bound.
It's about breaking those big goals down to smaller, more manageable steps.
And celebrating those small wins along the way.
Love it.
Yeah.
And this brings us to our final takeaway.
Hit me with it.
Mindset.
Yes, mindset is everything.
It's about cultivating that positive self-talk.
Absolutely.
Focusing on what we can control.
And being kind to ourselves.
Right. Recognizing our efforts and celebrating our progress.
It's about progress, not perfection.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, but I want to leave you with one final challenge.
Okay, I'm ready.
What is one small, achievable change you can make today
to
incorporate more movement into your life?
It could be taking a 15-minute walk after dinner.
Perfect.
Doing a quick stretching routine before bed.
I like it.
Even just standing up and moving around every hour.
It all counts, remember.
Yeah.
Even those small efforts, when done consistently, can lead to big results over time.
Your health is an investment worth making.
Couldn't agree more.
And you have the power to make positive changes.
You do.
One step at a time.
That's it for this deep dive.
Thanks for joining us.
We hope you found this helpful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep moving.